Who is Bradley's iPad?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, this is Brad Thurman. I'm just trying to be a
Okay.
fly on the wall. I'm not sure how reliable my internet was going to be, but I was
Okay.
just going to kind of listen in and see how things are going. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Oh, I was testifying on a Senate committee yesterday and I got kicked off by Senator Dingra because my audio wasn't very good. So
Oh, got it.
anyway,
Okay. Just wanted
I'll
to
be
make
listening
sure.
in. Yep.
Okay.
So are you in your beach chair, Brad?
Not quite. I'm Laura's aunt's house here. I can look out the window and see the ocean though. It's about 2 miles away, but I can see the ocean.
Wow. Well, hopefully it's warm and sunny there. Sounds like it probably is.
It's very nice. It's beautiful.
Which island are you on?
The Big Island
Ah, okay.
on the Kona side.
Okay, yeah. That's a beautiful place.
Yes, it is.
Are you up on the hill there then? If you can see a couple miles out?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Up by the golf course by any chance? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
Trying to think of point of reference. I don't know. Just kind of up from the kind of downtown Kona up the hill. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we stayed there just north of Kona. There's a bunch of condos and stuff around the golf course. And very pretty up there too, and you can see forever.
Yep, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Well, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me?
Good morning.
Sheriff Thurman asked me to preside this morning. If I think I got elected to do that as vice chair. Is that right, Alan?
That's my understanding.
All right.
Congratulations, by the way.
That's good. Yeah. I'm just all a quiver.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. I think I logged on in the middle of attendance being taken. Is that right? Or does that still need to be done?
I don't think we have. We were just visiting.
Okay, great. Visiting is important. It's good to see everybody here. Do we, Norm, can you tell if we have a quorum?
It appears that we have a quorum, yes.
Because I know we have non-board members as well as board members here, so. Well, if the secretary will take note of those who are here, board members and
Do you agree with the quorum?
yes.
Well, you need 5. So
Right.
you've got Dennis, you've got
You got Alan,
Alan, you've got,
Captain or Chief Yehuda,
yeah, representing the fire,
Bill
Kurt.
Mullins,
Chris, the city manager, Bill
Jim Kelly.
Herrera. Yeah, you need 5, you got 5.
Yeah, we have a quorum.
Super. All right. Our first item then, if we, do we need introductions? It says it's on the agenda, so.
Well, it's the first meeting of the year, and sometimes there's new members, such as yourself. So if you'd like introductions.
There are a few names that I recognize from quite a few years ago, and some names of people that I haven't met yet. So
You want to do a quick round of introductions?
let's go ahead.
Okay, so
Tell us who you are and which agency you represent. And we'll start with Jerry.
Hi, good morning, Jerry Jensen, Cowlitz 911 supervisor.
All right, and Alan, you're next.
Alan Headley, Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue.
Thank you. And the coalition in the office.
Yeah. Hi, this is Norm Crable with 911. And we've got Frank Randolph, the attorney for 911. We've also got Janelle Edwards, our HR person, and Deanna Wells, our IT manager.
Just so that Janelle knows, you're the headless horseman right now. We can't.
Yes, I get to
Face.
put it
There we
on.
go. All right. And Brad, all the way from Hawaii?
That's right. I'm going to be a fly on the wall, or try to be. But I did want to participate in the after meeting about the executive director
Yes.
search. So
Very good. Thank you. Robert?
Robert Huda, Long Beach PD, filling in for Jim Cambite, Fire Chief, since he's gone today.
All right. Chris?
Chris Smith, Assistant City Manager, filling in for Manager Saha.
Great. Brianna?
I'm Rachel for the next few months, so I'll be the clerk of the board, and I'm from 911.
Great. Thank you. Dar?
Dar Kirk, Kelso Police, City of Kelso alternate, standing in for Manager Hamilton.
Thank you. Jim?
Jim Kelly, Woodland Police, alternate for the 911 board. And since Ralph's here, I'll keep my mouth shut.
Well, you don't necessarily have to do that. It is a public meeting. Ralph?
Good morning, Chief Ralph Herrera with Kalama PD, representing small cities LE.
And Ralph, we'll let you correct any errors that Jim suggests during the discussion.
He's always
Good
there for
morning,
me, babe.
Bill Lamons, Calat 6 Fire Chief, the small fire district rep.
Great, thank you. Brandon?
Brandon Poff, Cowlitz Fire District 6. I am also the Fire TAC Chair.
Okay, thank you. Shelley? Shelley Reeves? We'll come back to Shelley. Charlie?
Hi, Charlie Worley with Castle Rock Police Department. I'm just an observer.
All right, thank you. Don?
Hello, commissioners, everyone. Don Turntine, staff at Cowlitz 911.
Thank you very much. Have we heard from Shelley yet?
She has not unmuted herself.
I'm sorry. I'm
There
here.
you go. Hi, Shelley.
Hi.
Go ahead and
I'm
introduce,
just listening.
introduce yourself and what organization.
Oh, Cowlitz 911 supervisor.
Great, super. Okay, I think that's the 16 people I have on the list, I believe. Well, 16 plus the coalition in the clubhouse.
Plus 3 more, yeah.
All right. Are there any changes for today's agenda?
I have one question on 10B. I think it needs to say Tom Stoddard's contract expired December of 2021.
You're correct.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I would entertain a motion then to approve the agenda as adjusted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? That motion appears to pass unanimously. Next item is the approval of minutes from the last meeting, January 12th. Are there any additions or corrections to be suggested? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Alan moved and
Second.
Chris Smith seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? That motion carries unanimously. Public comment. Is there anyone here today with something to inform the board that is not already on the agenda? All
There are
right,
no comments on the live stream either.
right. Do we have anybody on the live stream?
No.
All right, we'll move on to payables. A little over $400,000 payable is presented. Norm, do you want to review those?
Wasn't really planning on it. 150,000 is payroll for both administrative staff as well as the dispatch side. I honestly don't have the claims in front of me, so.
I guess what we're looking
Sorry
for,
about
if there's anything out of the ordinary.
I don't believe there was anything out of the ordinary, no.
All right. And
I know that there was some payment on the project.
sure. Okay. Any other questions for staff? I would entertain a motion to approve the payables as presented.
I'll make that motion. This is Dar.
Okay, Dar moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, Alan seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Or aye, sorry. All those opposed? It appears the motion has passed unanimously. All right. The next, you have received a copy of a draft resolution, resolution 2022-001. That's to authorize the use of cards, plastic money by staff. There are some guidelines to follow. No personal use. Unauthorized charges are going to be billed back to the person who makes them in error, and that they may be subject to discipline on that. The distribution is at the discretion of the executive director unless the board has any other restrictions they want to put in writing. Credit limit is $5,000 with no single purchase to exceed $1,000. And did I hit all the top spots, Norm?
I think the one you did not hit is adding Dawn Turrentine's position as one of the three positions that has a higher credit limit. So what we have is we have a current resolution that names the executive director and Rachel's position as having a higher limit. And because Dawn will be purchasing computer equipment and that type of thing, it seemed reasonable and appropriate to us to increase the limit for his position. None of the other positions have really shown any need to have a higher limit. So what we're proposing is that there would be three with that higher limit established. And we've also tried to clarify that it's the position and anyone who's temporarily filling that position. So the effect is that for this short time period, Brianna would be able to have a P card with that higher limit so that she could take care of the same types of expenditures that Rachel does on a regular basis. I would be allowed to get a P card. I mean, I haven't gotten a P card yet, and I don't see a real need for me to have a P card, but it's just it's a slight modification to an existing resolution. I mean, it replaces that resolution, but it's based on the original resolution. Just trying to clarify it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody have any questions? The one phrase that kind of jumped out at me was the parenthetical phrase about unless otherwise limited in writing by the board of directors. What does that really mean? Are we actually going to write exceptions?
I think it just gives us the opportunity to do that if we need to or feel the need.
Okay.
That's what I took it.
I would agree with that. It recognizes the authority is with the board. Hopefully there's no clash between the board and staff, but certainly if there was, the board would prevail. So I think that's why that's a standard provision.
Yeah.
And it may be that, I mean, what I read into that was like, for an interim director, maybe you want to not go with the $10,000 limit. Maybe you want to go with a lower limit. It gives you that option without changing the whole document.
We're never having another interim.
All right. Anybody else have any questions? Comments? I do want to note Don has joined us and so has Chief Neves. So welcome, gentlemen. Any further discussion? I would entertain a motion to approve resolution 1222-001.
So moved.
Okay, Alan has moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Chris has seconded. Again, any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed? It appears the motion has passed unanimously. All right. Next item on the agenda. We have an opening ceremony in our future. Norm, is that you or is there someone else who's putting the organization together?
No. I think you might be looking at the previous agenda.
This should be the financial.
Doesn't it go to the financial report, Dennis? I think we still have the opening ceremony, but it's under 10E.
Yes, I must not have the right one.
Yeah, January 26th.
All right.
We were doing so well.
So what's next? I obviously don't have the right agenda.
Agenda, real quick.
Yeah, Bree, can you bring that up? Yeah, okay.
Good.
Maybe we just leave this up there, Dennis.
Okay, thanks.
You,
Yeah,
you can
that'd be
see
great.
that. Okay.
All right. Financial report. I got it.
Okay. Bree, can you bring the financial report up and were you prepared
yeah.
to speak to it, or?
It's just for info. I don't have a lot of information on it. Rachel put it together, so it's really just an overview for the board to see kind of where the line items are at.
But it does present the year-end status of the 911. So it gives a good year-end snapshot of where we are and where we ended up relative to our budget. Could you increase the size of that a little bit?
That's right. There we go. Now it comes into focus. Oops.
Okay. So what is your pleasure? Do you want to go over this line by line, or do you prefer to just open it up to questions? Or
I guess just open it up to questions. Rachel didn't give me a rundown, so I'm just kind of playing it by ear.
I mean, I think you'll see, you can see that 2021 was a good year for the revenues coming from sales tax. I'm quite sure it's the highest that it's been since the start of the 0.1% sales tax. The organization is in good financial position.
I know that when the county, when we started the pandemic, the county noticed a huge jump in sales tax revenues for our share, and double-digit increases month over month from the previous year. That was kind of the first month, and last year we noticed it leveling off compared to the previous standard. And we just heard this morning at a staff meeting that November's revenue, which is being paid this month, was back up in double digits. So it's still fluctuating kind of interestingly as spending patterns get settled down. And who knows, with the volatility of the stock market and uncertainties, it may, people may hunker down and not spend as much going forward. But
right,
I'm sure everybody else has noticed that sales tax revenues have been pretty healthy.
Right. It seems to be a combination of a change in spending habits of the population, as well as an effective collection system for online purchases of sales tax.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
that sort of started about the same time that COVID did.
Right.
That the state started collecting all of those sales tax. So.
One question is the 2021 numbers, is that final, or will there still be some adjustments made to finalize 2021?
My understanding from Rachel is that they are not final numbers.
Okay.
These are what we know at this point.
Okay.
And if we added all of the reserves together, what percent of our annual revenue is being set aside in various reserves? Do you know what that number comes up to?
I don't. Brianna, do you have that information, or we can certainly get that information?
Yeah, we can get that. I'm not sure. Based off my understanding, Rachel is constantly doing transfers in and out of these to pay bills and all that. So I don't know how much sits in something at one time.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Dennis, we did several months ago put together a budget committee with projections out for capital expenditures and revenue, user fees for strategic planning for the future years. So we do have that information on what those percentages are that we're putting in reserve accounts, because we set up accounts for radio, 911 equipment, facilities, maintenance and repairs, several different categories where we are putting money away in a reserve account.
So with an increase in sales tax revenue, we should be able to track a bump up in reserves, because it's obviously more than what we originally budgeted. The other thing that I wanted to just double check is, in terms of operations, do we have about 2 months reserves set aside. That's kind of a standard. The accountants always like it. We get told we need to have at least, we should have 2 months. We have to have at least 1 month. That's the county standards, but I'm sure we're doing that also. And I'm guessing that if you look at the very bottom where it says investments, that's probably code for what we have set aside for various reserves, including the short-term management. Since the payments from the member entities only, I think, come quarterly, and we get a bump up and then have to invest what we don't spend.
Dennis, there's a resolution for this board
Mhm.
where a certain amount of revenue has to be set aside. I think it's around $1 million, but I don't know off the top of my head. Ellen, do you remember?
That number seems right, but I wouldn't trust my memory anymore.
Okay, nope. Don't want to belabor the topic, the subject. Anybody have any other questions about the financials? It's nice to be in a comfortable financial situation. This doesn't usually happen. All right, we don't need a motion to accept this, do we?
No.
Generates
All right.
information.
This is info only.
Yes. Are there any other questions? All right, I think we're ready then to move on to the next item on the agenda. Is that our board committee reports?
Can you pull that back up there, Rachel? Or pull it down to the agenda?
She's right.
Did I see Rachel?
He's right. Bree.
Bree, I'm sorry.
There you go.
We have law tack or fire tack.
All right. Let's hear from our law enforcement partners. Is that
Well, this is Brad. Troy Brightbill is off today and they're having a meeting next week. So there's nothing new to report from
Okay.
LTEC.
thank you. And fire tack.
We have a joint meeting with the law enforcement group next week, as Sheriff Thurman said, and then our regularly scheduled meeting is February 14th. So I won't have another update from just the fire tack until the second meeting next month.
So Brandon, are you handing out Valentine's?
Possibly, we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Okay, director's report. Norm.
Yes, so as far as the staffing update, we do have 17 full-time dispatchers, and we have 4 of the 6 trainees still here. We have lost 2 of the 6. We are thinking that at least 3 of those 4 will graduate from training status within the next couple of months, and possibly the 4th one as well. They're all doing well, and hopefully they will continue to improve and become great dispatchers. Climate and culture, I am looking at, I'm working with Janelle on getting some leadership / management training for the administrative staff. And we are working on that, and probably will be giving future updates on what we land on, and I guess just more to come in the future on that issue. I just feel like we need to try to change the culture a little bit from the top down, and make sure that everyone is functioning at kind of peak capacity. Let's see, the facility update. So we continue to have some issues with schedule. I know that I had mentioned end of March date for substantial completion. At a previous meeting, we are now looking at April 21st as a substantial completion date. This is due to additional COVID impacts, the weather, the snow, the freezing weather, the rain that we had have all had some impact on that. Just as an example of a COVID impact, the contractor is ready to start sheetrocking, and the electrical inspector that needs to approve the stuff in the walls before the sheetrock goes up is out with COVID. And so we are hoping to get that inspected soon so that the sheetrock can start. And they're ready to start that next week. So hopefully we can still get that accomplished. So that's the update on the facility. It is going well at this point. The HVAC is going in. The insulation is probably about 85% complete. Windows, the glass themselves is due the week of February 14th. The siding is coming about that same time period, around the middle of February. So a lot of the things that have been on a long lead time for material acquisition we're finally getting to that point where they will be delivered. So we'll start to see better and faster progress here shortly. I'm going to turn the radio update over to Deanna, if there is any.
There is?
Okay.
Okay, Day Wireless was in yesterday. They are going to break ground the first week of February and anticipate completion the second week of February at the Castle Rock site. Then the third week of February, they'll be out at Baker's Corner, finishing up that site. We've scheduled some pager testing with Kalama Fire for coverage reasons. One of the technicians at Day Wireless has some concerns about the Meisner site and resolving the pager issue for Kalama. So we're going to test that and make sure that we are getting the kind of coverage that we think we are. I have a request from Nexus Internet Company to co-locate on one of our sites. And I'm still waiting for some feedback on the Woodland site. And Chief Kelly, if you have any info on that.
I do not. I haven't heard back from the mayor. I sent an email when you sent me the email the other day. I sent it to him.
Okay.
And the city manager or city administrator. So waiting to hear back. I'll keep poking the bear.
I know. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Also, Day Wireless completed some work at the Woodland and Davis sites yesterday, so that coverage should be back up in the Woodland and Kalama area. If you guys could give us feedback and let us know if there's any staggering issues or if it's better, we'd appreciate the feedback on that. And that's all I have on radio.
All right, thank you very much. Under old business, an update on image trend and questions or concerned about that, Norm?
Yes, I'm going to turn this and B over to Deanna as well. So I just let her keep the floor.
All we needed was a C in there, A, B, C, D.
We have a C.
Image trend. Okay, so with our CAD transition from Spillman to Intergraph, obviously you have to have new interfaces. Two of the fire agencies stayed with ERS, their records management system, and we've already in an earlier board meeting addressed some costs that were associated with us transitioning to a new CAD system. 4 of our fire agencies either were previously on Image Trend or switched over to Image Trend. And initially, for whatever reason, we were under the belief that there would be no fees charged by Image Trend. And we later found out that that is not accurate and there are going to be some fees. We did meet with fire folks, Frank and I did, to see if, there was any legal grounds with this assumption of not having any fees, and that is not the case. It was conversations, basically. So we did meet with Image Trend again, and we had some email conversations back and forth. We involved our SSA, which is Tom Stoddard, and their technical engineer to find out what exactly the work was that needed to be done. They did come back and advise us that they would reduce the fee that they were charging from $3,500 an agency to $1,750 an agency. And so what the request is from these fire agencies, that this 7,000 or up to that maximum of 7,000 plus sales tax be charged to the 911 center under the new project budget. This is not a budgeted item because we just weren't aware of it. The fire departments have said that they will go back and, talk with Image Trend again to see if they can get that reduced any further. But we would like, our recommendation is that the board approve the comm center to cover these costs up to $7,000 so that we can move forward with this. And Brandon, do you want to add anything?
No, you pretty well summed it up. Like she said, we're going back to the table one more time with Image Trend. That meeting is scheduled for, I believe, Friday this week. So we'll sit down one more time and we'll see if we can't get it down anymore. But if not, if this is their final offer, then I say we jump on it.
Robert has a question. He has his hand raised.
Yes, Chief.
I would make the motion to accept the recommended action.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second, Ralph Herrera.
Okay, thank you very much. Any further discussion? I'm assuming this will require a budget amendment since it's unanticipated expenditures.
I don't know that you'll have to amend the budget because I don't think they do it by line item. I think that there are funds in the budget that would cover this. It just wasn't a budgeted item.
Right. So
where they didn't spend money someplace else, then
well, if we need to amend the budget, we can do that later. That's as long as we get that taken care of. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, no, nay? The motion appears to have passed unanimously. Next item, Stafford contract.
okay. When we initially signed the agreement with Motorola back in maybe December, I think I might have it in here, but December, I believe, of 20. Yeah. Part of that contract had a SSA person, which happened to be Tom Stoddard, which happens to be the same SSA that the law enforcement agencies and corrections contracts with. And basically they're your CAD administrator or your records administrator. We have a need for those services to continue, and his contract expired in December of 21. Like Robert brought up, that is a typo on there. So we have a need to renew that contract with Reliable Administration, AKA Tom Stoddard. We have agreed to a fee of $2,000 a month, not to exceed $24,000 a year. And our recommendation would be that the board approve this. And this was budgeted.
Okay, and Deanna, that's the same amount as the last year?
There's no written dollar amount for last year because it was part of the contract for that we got 1 year of, they had a name for it. Let me look for it really quick. I should have highlighted it. It's, oh, first year maintenance for the specific module listed in this document. All upgrades, live phone support services are included for the entire first year. Project management and installation, and 12 months of setup and administrative services. And that's the piece that Stoddard was doing.
Okay,
But it doesn't have a dollar amount with it.
okay.
So the recommended action is 2,000 a month, not to exceed 24,000.
Yes.
All right. So you've heard the request. What are your wishes?
I will move approval of this personal services agreement, contract 2022-001.
Second, this is Dar.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 All those opposed, nay? Was that a nay? Or
No.
throat clearing?
Just a throat clearing.
Okay. Sorry.
And
All right. It would appear that the motion has passed unanimously.
Dennis, for the record, I do have a contract. Pretty sure you got it. And Lisa, the Stoddard contract.
Yes.
Okay. I basically just took the contract that the county had prepared for the renewal of this contract with law enforcement, and we tweaked it in a few places. It's pretty lengthy. I didn't attach it, but we will need somebody to come by and sign it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Next item, salary adjustment for Brianna.
Yes, so this is this is kind of a repeat. We had a bit of a last minute item on at the last meeting. I don't know that we addressed it particularly well to the board, and we did not get the information out in advance, which is our goal at all times, is to get the information to you prior to the meeting. But the situation still exists that we have our finance admin specialist, which is Rachel Young, is on leave. She's having a baby, and for this 3 to 4 month time period, we need to have Brianna step in and take over some of the, well, I shouldn't say some, all of the time sensitive duties that Rachel would ordinarily do. And Brianna has been trained to do this, and she has done these duties in the past, but not for as an extended of a time period. We don't have any policy that states what should be done in this situation, which a lot of agencies would have a policy, and it would just guide our actions, and we would do it administratively. And so we're coming to the board with a recommendation to give Brianna a temporary pay increase for the additional work that she will be doing, and also just on this temporary period until Rachel does return to work. We did get some feedback from several board members that basically felt 5 to 7% is appropriate. I will say that in past positions that I've held, 5 to 10% is what I've seen. And so 5 to 7 is certainly within that range as well. So my recommendation is to approve a pay increase of 7% for Brianna. However, of course, if the board feels a different amount is more appropriate, then that would be appropriate to do at this time. But I do feel that we should take action on this item. Thank you.
Chief Yuta.
I make a motion to approve a temporary pay increase of 7% for Brianna Harville.
Thank you.
I would second that. This is Dar.
Chief Kirk. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. You've heard the motion and the report. Is there any further discussion? I know that the policy in the county is for 5% on these kinds of things, but I don't know what other agencies have.
You have one comment, Commissioner.
Oh.
I would suggest that perhaps, and I know that Norm, you talked about that, but codifying that in some sort of a document moving forward would be appreciated. I think it would be helpful with regard to that working out of class compensation.
We can certainly work on that. I know that there's a number of things in the personnel manual that need to be updated, and Janelle has already started working on that, on a list of items. So yeah, we will look forward to getting that codified. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great. Any further discussion? So I don't see any hands up. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. It would appear the motion unanimously carries. And now thank you. Now the executive director's recruitment update.
Well, I guess I'll step in there with some assistance, hopefully from Janelle.
Great, thank you.
We've received 13 full applications that answer all the questions and things that we had submitted to the applicants. We plan on meeting this afternoon, or I should say after this meeting, to further review those. Those have all been out to the executive director recruitment committee, search committee, and hopefully everybody's had a chance to review those, and staff developed a matrix, I guess is probably the best term, on how to evaluate those, and kind of a rating system. So we'll be looking at that after this meeting and see how everybody feels each applicant has stacked up. So we're moving forward, hopefully, to schedule some interviews in the very foreseeable future. Janelle, anything else you want to add?
No, I feel like you summed it up pretty well. Yeah, this next step is just narrowing down this applicant pool, and then after today's meeting, we'll decide on if we need to further narrow it down by phone or Zoom interviews. And then who all we will be having for in-person panel interviews. So yes, as Alan said, we're moving forward and hopefully should start the interview process within the next few weeks.
Any other questions? All right, that subcommittee will be meeting as soon as this meeting is adjourned at noon. Opening ceremony discussion.
Yes, it is on there. We included that because we brought it up at a previous meeting and we did not want to allow it to just drop off of everyone's calendars, even though it hasn't been scheduled yet. But we agreed that we did want to have some type of a opening ceremony for the new facility once it is complete and we have moved in or are in the process of moving in. Hopefully completely moved in though. And beyond that decision by this board, I think, you know, if there's thoughts that you have, please get those to us. Things that you would like to see done or things that maybe you wouldn't like to see done. I'm sort of assuming that we're not going way overboard on this. We're having a relatively simple ceremony and hopefully having the press there and maybe get something in the paper about the new facility. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that it was on there so that we didn't forget to speak about it on occasion. So if there's any questions or comments that anyone has that they'd like to share now, that'd be great. Or you can send an email or give us a call.
So Norm, is that one of those kind of questions where if anybody does have a comment, they're on the committee?
I can't put anyone on a committee here who's on the board, but I think the chairman or the vice chair could probably form an ad hoc committee. So you certainly could do that.
Well, obviously, the chairman is practicing his partying skills. So
yes,
yeah.
maybe he'll come back with ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tiki torches.
Yeah.
Well, I'd agree with Norm, probably low key. We don't know which variant we'll be dealing with when the facility is open, but it would be nice, at least for the first responders, various stakeholder agencies to have maybe open houses. Maybe we can spread those out over several days so there's not too many people there at once. But as far as a public event, probably needs to be limited in scope, but I'd be willing to work with Norm or any other staff members that might be interested in doing that.
Yeah, I would think at least like a ribbon cutting and maybe, you know, raising the flag or whatever. I'm sure Brad could deliver some sort of nice, eloquent speech for us. And yeah, at least something like that. And then maybe some cookies and whatever as a refreshment, maybe.
Okay, Alan, great. Sounds like you're the chair. We just decide.
I'll provide ideas, or you can. Maybe I'll bake cookies. I don't know. Nobody want to eat them. But.
Okay, we've got time. So we're still looking at sort of the end of March, or was it the end of May? I both those months stick in my mind, but I don't know why.
Well, substantial completion, April 21st. Final completion of the construction project. So all punch list items, I think they're looking at May 12th. But we also have the physical move in. I'm assuming that we would prefer to have staff in the building before we actually have the opening ceremony. But if that's the case, that's probably a couple months after that April, so it's probably June time period.
All right, that's good. A good target date. So we do have some time on that. Any other questions or comments? Thank you. We're not going to have an executive session today, so my last question is there anything else we brought to the board's attention? All right, seeing no hands up.
So are we staying on this?
That's the plan.
Norm, question or comment?
Just that the executive search committee can just stay on this Zoom
Oh,
meeting
okay.
rather than leaving after you adjourn the meeting, that's all.
Okay, super. Thank you. Well, with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Let's do it again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, fine.
Actually didn't include the contract.
Okay.